Hi there, welcome to Carcassonne with Utze. It's MTU versus Kithara Q3, the quarterfinal. Actually, let me go back to the bracket here. So this match, Kithara 1 versus 71st. If you're an avid follower of this channel, you have witnessed it is a match for sure. And I think, didn't I cover Idinidad versus MTU as well? I think so. Definitely a close one, definitely an interesting game. And this here today will be a banger of two players with a top rating over 830. MTU, especially in the last days, with a rather sick development here. Yesterday, his winning streak of 57 games ended with the match versus Idinidad, and then afterwards he just ended a few turn-based games and plummeted to 730 something. Quite the ride. These two have met each other quite often in the last years. All these games were turn-based though, so I'm not sure if that says anything about their strengths here. Still a bit different, and they are at 3% already. So for once, a tournament starts on time, which is nice actually. Default moves so far, MTU playing with the blue, Kithara with the yellow meeples here. Kithara opts to place the cow here, which definitely is a good idea, just to prevent MTU from closing this 10-point city with any city cap and to complicate things. So now he has options to play aggressively against yellow's city on the right side, plus there might be options to attack this field again after the cow move. So he goes for the left side. That's pretty aggressive considering any big city tile or Dorito would restrict both his road and his city to the daggers. And I mixed the colors, right? Blue is MTU, yellow is Kithara. So blue aggressively played against Kithara's city. And both seem to have a laggy connection, which is completely annoying. I won't bother showing you the server status of BGA. It's all over the place since, I don't know, a few days ago, but was significantly worse yesterday with, I think, 3 or 4 outages of several minutes, which usually isn't the case. At least to me, the uptime of BGA looked fine whenever I was checking. Yeah, the aggressive scoring by blue continues, isn't afraid of any problems for monastery and road, as he should. There's just so much you can do when playing it safe and against an opponent of Kithara's strength. Aggressively scoring, aggressively meepling should be the way to go. Still nothing happened, but is precariously placed yellow meeple here because blue only got the left-handed dagger. A right-handed dagger might have landed over here, where he now will place the Dorito, of course, to limit yellow's city to 3. Oh, no, 2 remaining daggers, because the one was placed by blue, of course, on the left side, which also complicates things for this city, as yellow might not prefer to continue that city this way, as that would give blue direct blocking options against this square. Yellow threatens to block this square. Good defense for blue, of course, would be a starting time. What? Yeah, looks like a bug on here as well, and I've noticed problems with the interface earlier when playing myself. I actually had a starting tile in hand, then I don't know. The app complained about some error. I refreshed, and would you know it, I had a dagger in hand then, so something was totally off. I hope it don't affect these two too much. Yellow with this dagger opened up the city for invasion. Quite likely because they figure they need to score a bit more aggressively, and then protected the city again indirectly. Blue then took this monastery. Interesting stuff here happening. Yellow prevents or delays the closure of blue city. Still 2 of these daggers available. Only the one for yellow, and the problem for yellow is they needed to liberate the city monastery combination, although at least these affects 2 meeples from both here. So the daggers, as is usually the case, definitely are critical in this game. At this point in time, it looks way more critical for yellow, though, because they are the side on the losing end as of now. Yellow with a loop road on the left side seems to have problems again because there's no way they'd add a farmer there. Yeah, wasted a few precious seconds and exactly had problems there. I hope the time won't become a problem for either of these two, because both don't deserve shitty interface or shitty server problems like this here. I'm not convinced this is a good move. because you take away the free Dorito continuation here. And if you want to play this rather safe, then you might need the horse. And this directly gives back an attacking. Ah, damn it. Always hitting the keys here. Sorry, folks. Directly gives back this direct attacking option. Mind you, the secondary one as well, but still, I would have liked this one somewhere else. But he still goes for it. Maybe like this. Yeah, that would work as well. Quite fine, actually. So let's see if yellow happens to draw the remaining diagonal splitter or does something else about the right side of the city, because just hoping to outdraw your opponent by getting both daggers might not be the best option here. Kithara tries to threaten blue's monastery squares, is successful. This now is killed. Blue goes for this completion. That works as well, of course. Still 3 pieces to go over here, but the problem is you give your opponent this option, which is to pressure 2 squares at the same time, and tricky business for yellow. They have one of the daggers, so there's only 1 dagger left. But they also could attack this city, but there's only the 1 cow left to connect. So the connection would be a 50-50. Closing this city for blue would be slightly less than a 50-50, because they definitely aren't guaranteed to draw one of the Doritos to close their city on the right side on the next turn. They might never get 1 Dorito. Yellow might just do something else about it. As it will, they could even use this option and just not place a meeple to restrict blue city to 2 50-50s, and therefore roughly 25% chance of completion without further harassment. Let's see. They go exactly for this idea. And then they'd still have the chance to block this, kill this city, rather by using anything with a field or city side to the right of this gap. But it would take them 2 moves to execute that. And they might not have the luxury of using 2 moves here. They might need them elsewhere to bridge the scoring gap. Nice field for yellow. Extension killed by blue. Not leaving any chance for yellow to add a curve here and extend the field to the left side. Suffering for blue by blocking this monastery square is very little, as again only the last remaining curve was able to fit there anyway. I didn't comment this move. This limits this square to the last remaining dagger, and then this here killed it because there's no starting tile left, and therefore this city is dead. The small one next to it is still alive. What's happening here? again a misrotated tile. Yeah. So blue was able to retract themselves from the city built next to the monasteries and to rub in more salt in the wound, then just drew the last left-handed dagger. So this square is dead, this city is dead, this city is dead. Blue has the meeple majority and will use this meeple majority to win this game without trouble anymore. I don't think there's any permutation yellow could hit to still win this one. I mean, there might be scoring a lot of field points and cities and then actually splitting this field here and then taking this one as well. So blue will just take it right now. And this, at least in theory, should be it. Everything else is, or should be, just scoreboard cosmetics. It's 11 points, meeple down. This is killed as well, so you won't get this one back. Might still connect here with one of the remaining straights, adding 3 points to your score, but does it really help? Blue gets the big city, but yellow immediately drew the last remaining dagger, so at least this blue city won't be completed. Still 13 points for blue. They could just eliminate this field connection. For example, no, not just for example, the only piece that would still fit there apart from the one mtu has in hand would be the rose. This here could then swing the score. Therefore, blue just takes it away. Question is whether they need or should meeple this one. What? So something between server and client side seems to be terribly wrong here. Now there's only the splitter left for blue to close their city, but this here also takes away immediate options to attack the shared 12-point field. Once blue, wrong piece, sorry. Once blue closes their city, if they elect to do, there would be options to attack it again, but I guess they just won't, even if they happen to draw the splitter. Hi, Glovia. Maybe our sense of humor is tad different. I actually find that totally annoying. And I just hope it's on my end, but I fear it isn't. And I'm pretty sure it affects both players as well, and especially if you're with only a few minutes on your clock, misrotations, server hiccups, lags, etc., you name it, is just completely annoying. It's a shame. I hope BGA knows where the problem stems from and fix it ASAP. 15 points spread now. And quite frankly, even taking over this field doesn't win yellow the game. There are no other big features to speak of, so it's just rough. And that's why adding a useless cow to your opponent's city sometimes just is a great move. It all started there. Yeah. He finds it funny. Well, that's okay. Well, what should MTU do? Maybe just dump the cap here? If you happen to draw the 50-50, then you'd get 12 points. And if not, maybe your opponent will, and then you just attack the field again with the option of having a 6-point field for yourself if it's from the left side. He goes for this one. Well, if yellow now draws all city caps, would they score 16 points with 3 moves? I don't think so. So 2. There would be 8 over here, but that's just not enough. Oh, and I miscounted. There was a second rose there. So actually 4 city caps. Yellow sets themselves up for the 8-pointer there. But the best they can do would be to claim a 5-point road. No, there is this 6-point field available plus 3 points for the road, so a 9-point move. But in that case, blue would get the vanilla to close their city for 4 points, which would give them a 2-point win. Yeah. They block this road, which quite frankly they shouldn't have, just to give yellow the chance to make this mistake. But against Kithara, this here was a given. So in the end, only 2 points. It sure looked more open than that one. And therefore, for blue to start this city would have even been the right choice. Just in case they hit a permutation where yellow gets stuff like that, and then the straight in the end. But I still think adding the cap here could have been considered as well. Let's see. Maybe later, maybe not. Although today rather not. I'm a bit time pressed. So second game, here we go. This time, quite hopefully without misrotations. First 4 points for Kithara. MTU takes the next city. We'll see. Will he go for a 6-point loop or 4-point loop? The problem with this here is, let's use the 6 points, then your opponent goes here and blocks this square to a starting tile in some cases, and he opts to go for a 6-point loop and asserting pressure against Blue City. They close it immediately. No Krishna style, a second city to the right. And they even might have thought about pretty early meepling a farm, but more likely it was just a server annoyance again, as a farmer here. Oh, thank you, yellow. Would have been or could have been limited with a few quick strides rather easily. Blue restricts yellow's road to 6 crossroads. All still fine, no big problem in the beginning of a game. There are still enough tiles out there to liberate that one. There is a nice juicy monastery square, actually 2, and both I think would be better for blue to take. Yellow might get into trouble unless they could use a road monastery like this. And here we go. The usual try to restrict this, lock this to a starting tile, to gone. This was rotated correctly earlier. Why did this change? I don't know. Actually, if one of you could open the game on a second screen, maybe, or I could do this in another browser, just to check if it's, I don't know, has something to do with this on here. So let me use my regular browser and open the game there as well. And then we'll see. This has the same problems. So what did I want to say? Well, this 3 starting tiles are gone. So a Dorito from here would severely threaten this road and could push the city into the abyss as well. Yellow had to start their monastery cluster on the right side. Again, can't justify using these squares with the threats for their city and then monastery, or on the other side, road and monastery looming large. Also nice restriction with all these city plus road tiles gone, 2 roses gone, 3 starting tiles gone as mentioned. Yellow doesn't bother going here because that would be more problematic than anything else actually. So just starting a new city on the right side is completely fine and definitely advised in this case. Might try to go here. If it weren't for the city, it would be a quite good move, actually. But in this case, maybe this here is better. He opts for the left one. So this restriction is still available to yellow. But if yellow does something about the city, then if blue does something about the city, excuse me, then yellow's road would be indirectly protected in many cases. All that doesn't matter as yellow just gets a straight. Doesn't use it immediately over there. Not exactly sure why. Maybe they deliberated whether a self-block would be worth their while. I guess not. Maybe it was the server issues again. Hey, Juan. Oh, that's nice. I looked for farming options, and this one here is definitely an interesting one. First off, it limits yellow city on the left side to the last remaining starting tile or rows, so 2 pieces to go there. It takes a juicy field, which is bound to be expanded by yellow on the left side. If they get any curve they deem not useful anywhere else to close their road. Also, this adds this cap here with still 3 vanillas to go. So sure, a nice option. And yellow's 5 meeples are stuck for now, and maybe except for this one and the one on the right city might be stuck there for quite some time. So going for the field when your opponent can't really counterattack due to insufficient meeples in hand definitely is strategically a sound choice here. Kithara would hate to see such move and might opt to continue their city this way, creating a monastery square, which is tad shoddy due to this road pointing in there and immediate killing options. And therefore, they try to play against blue's monastery square and contain the field on the left side at least a tiny bit. Now, field expansion to the top is stopped at the horse. Blue gets one of the vanillas, jumps on the chance to add 7 points to the virtual scoreboard, and by now take the lead there. This one for sure will be interesting. This here to expand the field and threaten to kill yellow city could be considered, but it's rather easy to defend, at least giving yellow a 50-50 plus in some cases a 3-point road as well. And with 4 meeples in hand, you'd rather like to find a useful monastery square, and of course there is one. this here, threatening to kill this here, and with this 1 meeple each. But blue decides just to meeple the monastery in the place I suggested. So in case yellow closes their city, they have good chances to close the monastery and at least compensate a few points against yellow's 14-point city. And if they happen to draw anything to kill the square, they won't think twice about it. They just will kill it, and then quite likely in the end would win a mini battle with possibly 7 or 8 points for the monastery against 6 points for yellow's ruin. Therefore, yellow indirectly protects, limits the blocking pieces for blue quite severely, takes out extenders, vertical splitters, vanillas, and even the last right-handed dagger. So there are still Pituritos, cows, and diagonal splitters left to go here and kill this square. So still a whopping, I don't know, 7, 8 pieces. I actually could count, yeah. Oh, look. 7. Yellow, on the other hand, could of course use vanillas or splitters to limit their city to a 50-50, but at least have a shot at completion and, of course, taking a road here, which blue might take beforehand, but we'll see about that. Meanwhile, yellow draws the retro after another and only needs 1 to close that diamond. There we have a misrotation again. So let's check, and it's misrotated in the other browser as well. So seems to have nothing to do with my setup here. I don't like this city meeple there. If you want to attack this, you could meeple the attacking piece. If you want to obstruct the square, you could meeple the obstruction piece. And the risk of yellow drawing multiple big city tiles or a big city tile, Dorito, and a city cap without you being able to interfere, I wouldn't value as highly as quite obviously blue did. But they got their triple city tile to prevent yellow from closing the city. They had the Dorito in hand, and this sure is annoying. In the meantime, yellow took their penultimate meeple to attack the field, or rather hop on the blue monastery train, which for sure will sometime connect them to a field. And there are still 6 curves left for yellow to get their second meeple back in hand. And then the field would be united. Right now it's on the right side worth 9 points, on the left side 3. So closing the road would be a 6-point move for yellow, as they'd also add 2 points to blue's monasteries. In the short term, unifying the fields isn't great. Long term, though, it's definitely useful to get your meeples back, and that's why blue doesn't shy away from this move. There is one additional option. It would be killing this square, as there are no right-handed daggers left. I mean, I saw a second curve flying over there as well, but at least this time it isn't misrotated. And we aren't lacking any meeples, so this is fine. Yeah, yellow closed on the road, took the meeple back. Blue immediately attacked the field and protected their monastery square, leaving straights and straightish tiles to complete the monastery on the left side, and then waiting whether the starting tile for yellow will hit or not. And if it hits, then blue would connect on this way. The downside of connecting here, though, is you'd give back a prime harassment option to your opponent. They could limit these two monasteries to the starting tile, which would definitely be a good move, as they need the starting tile anyway. Two crossroads still out there. Yellow maybe deliberating whether to ninja farm or just take a loop road. Let's see, time-wise, 13 moves to go for yellow. Only 5 minutes left. With a field situation which might become complicated later on. It doesn't really bode well here. So there's the ninja, and there is, as is the case when there's still a road monastery left, oftentimes another option, which would be the road monastery to connect. Both have only one meeple in hand. And blue decides to take this cap to harass, block, kill, whatever, this square here. Yellow works on the monasteries, still has a lot of pieces left to liberate the upper one. The bottom one needs the remaining road monastery or vanilla, as all regular monasteries are gone. This ain't a problem. There are still 3 daggers left. So any obstruction from the left side would at least give them 3 pieces to still close it. Because this here, then they'd still have 3 curves plus the road monastery. Yellow connects. Blue liberates one of the monasteries. Now they don't have to care about the safety of this square, as they don't really care whether these bottom meeples on the field would get united with the top field. Actually, in this case, when you're ahead and have more meeples in hand, you'd rather try to prevent the unification to not create big, swingy, volatile features that could be used by your opponent to turn the tides here. For example, consider just unifying the fields then it would be a field worth 18 points, and yellow could easily take it over and take the lead with this sequence of tiles. And therefore, keeping this open should be the correct course of action for blue. Yellow, on the other hand, quite likely has to attack the field sometime, somehow. For example, they could use this option to either draw the starting tile or a curve road monastery. And they do. Even if that gets blocked, they could use the road monastery here, but then they need to connect if they don't get the starting tile. Blue immediately counters with in a way that the retool would limit the square to the starting tile as well. But good news for blue, they get the road monastery to immediately connect, also add 2 points to their already healthy lead on the virtual scoreboard. And might it be time for yellow to go for nuclear options like this one? Going for the quadruple city. Might just be not enough. So for sure they need the starting tile to maximize their score, and because of the starting tile, they actually need to keep a meeple in hand, as that would give them a 7-point road on top. And in addition, all these caps here are waiting to be scored by someone. So with open caps like that, you can't justify going for puzzly stuff like the one move I hinted at. So Kithara with a city cap will take this one at the bottom, of course. Blue liberates another monastery and now has secured the meeple advantage, quite likely for the remainder of the game. And therefore will add another farmer when they get a good chance. This here could be one. They just don't get a tile to do that. And now we'll see whether they connect here. Right now they would take over this complete unified field with 2 meeples. I would suggest this here, but actually it doesn't work because it gives this connection option. Is there any way they could attack the field? Well, they could use this one here, and of course the one at the bottom, which is a blunder. There isn't anything to go there. There was the one Dorito. So yellow didn't have. Oh, I missed the curve. Sorry. Okay, then there were 2 pieces to connect, and blue's move was definitely okay because only curve and Dorito could immediately kill the square, as you need the same piece to connect. Also, this takes away this ninja option to attack yellow's 0-point farm, which could still be connected to the main field. Blue takes away the curve from yellow's arsenal of connection choices. We'll see a ninja farmer over there. But it's 26 points down. And yellow has 4 farmers on the fields, 4 relevant farmers on the fields. Blue as well can neglect the bottom one, as this one won't connect to the main field. But yellow would need to connect here and draw the starting tile. Maybe hope that blue doesn't get their hands on a curve. Then yellow would win. But they definitely need the starting tile. They got the curve. Take a healthy 6-point loop. Blue's farmer over here is dead. And will they get the starting tile? They did. But great job from yellow, forcing the 50-50 in the end. I hope I haven't missed anything, but this yellow farmer could only connect to blue's side field here for 3 points. And they won't, because there are better moves than that. For example, taking this one here, 5-point road. Well, huge ruin on the left for 7 is better. But we get a misrotation again. Yeah, I hope blue will notice that they have to play their move again. Kithara then has 22 seconds to execute their move. Yeah, looks like it. And here we go. There's the starting tile, and MTU will win. Kithara takes 7 points on the left side for Scoreboard Cosmetics. So 5 points only in the end, but still, it was a 50-50 for this starting tile, which would have saved the day for yellow. On the other hand, they got this Dorito and this curve here. Both would have quite likely secured the field and the win for blue from either of these 2 farmers. Okay, then congratulations to MTU. You definitely will be the favorite in the semifinal, and if you manage to win that one in the final again, at least I would pick him over anyone left in this field. And the same goes for Kithara in the bottom half. Let's quickly check. Kithara, where's Big Nacho? Big Nacho is over here and was moved there from the top to the bottom half. So Kithara should be vice versa, from the bottom half to the top half, and then meeting either Ernie 012 or Lord Trooper in the lower round 2. The problem about these lower rounds or about the lower bracket is you need way more match wins to secure a Champions League spot because you need to reach the consolidated final and win it. In comparison to just 4 wins up top, you could need up to 6 in the bottom half. Hey, Mateusz, are you happy with your play? Sure, you're happy with the result. And he's just there to say hi, or he's just a slow typer. Yeah, this I only can support. Kithara worded it completely correctly. Was it possible to lose the first game at the end? Asks the one who should know. I mean, I've told you sometime that I'm really not that great at remembering stuff like that. So let's check out. I think it was if you don't hit one of the caps after you've placed the vanilla on the top right next to your city. I think there was an option for yellow to score and then in the end take the 6-point field plus 3-point road for 9. So let's check. 16 points sounds right. And therefore, yellow needs the straight on their last turn. And you just need to miss all city caps. Well, 8 points for yellow at the bottom. With 2 caps, they have 3 moves. Plus 9 points in the middle would be 17. But in that case, you are guaranteed to get the Dorito. Oh, damn it. I'm just 2 moves too far into the end of the game. No, should remove this one here. That's it. Okay, my tool just hadn't picked up this one. Yeah, but it's then exactly as I said. Of course, yellow can score 8 points and 9 points in the middle with their 3 moves, which is 17, which would be 1 point more than you have. But then you get the Dorito and the vanilla. And no matter the permutation, you'd win either by closing small city for 4 points or by scoring 6 points with it. So I think at this point in time, there was no way for blue, aka you, MTU, to lose this game. Yeah, he thought there was no way to lose this. And at least if I don't have missed anything, then he should be correct about that one. Yeah, there's no way to take this field. And even if it would only score 12 points, which just isn't enough. So frankly, at this point in time, it works. One move earlier, it would be a risk and you could have still lost it. Well, bit lucky. This situation up top turned out great for you and not so great for yellow, getting this splitter and then right afterwards this dagger to liberate the monastery and kill the square was definitely a good draw, a great one even. If you were very lucky, you would have gotten your hands on the remaining dagger though and would have run away with the score anyway. Yeah, exactly. The last splitter and the daggers. These were crucial. I mean, you've got this one as well, which was totally annoying. Mostly for yellow, because they were down meeples due to their cities anyway. So I don't think there was a lot for yellow to do here to sway the game in their way. We could take a look at the early city development, but I don't think the horse was problematic at all. I mean, they even went for this dagger. Let's actually skip back. Should be around 60 maybe. That's too advanced in the game. Yeah, okay, this works. I mean, they even did go for this move, which I don't really like, actually. There's no pressure. You could wait for the Dorito to continue like this. This here, I mean, it immediately gives an option to your opponent to attack your 6-point city, which so far, even if unwieldy, was still healthy. Yes, if your opponent attacks there, it would take them precious tiles, which they might like to use for their city on the right side. But why not? Also, blue only had 2 meeples in hand, so finding one there might be profitable for yellow in the long run. Yeah, but then I think it just turns south for yellow without faults of their own. I mean, securing the city indirectly while scoring, definitely fine. This monastery, for sure an interesting way to obstruct yellow city because it, which I haven't commented about, takes away road Doritos. They only can continue with field Doritos here because they'd rather not use it like this. They still had hope with, to draw one of these 2 daggers here. So yeah, that's a nice find. Also adding a second 4-point loop option up top. Another one was on the left, which I think yellow claimed later. Yeah, sounds all fine and dandy here. Yeah, and also, of course, the block option from the top. Sometimes even this here. Yeah, I guess you would have used the Dorito like that without blinking twice, actually. Quite likely. Yeah, definitely a nice find. And definitely better than this orientation. Yeah, so when you hit the 1 dagger, sure, Just take the quick points, especially with only the one meeple in hand. There's nothing else you could have done or should have done. Oh yeah, 3 roses left, right? 2 actually. 3. Yellow got one. Like this, which would work to limit this city to the dagger as well. But I might refrain from using that move. At least I'd rather use a Dorito or horse there. That's for sure. Yeah, yellow. There was one move on your right city which I didn't like. Let's skip forward a bit. Natural moves here. All's fine and dandy. Yeah, all sound. Nothing really to add or change there. This move here. I don't think that's great. Because you take away with 7 Doritos and 1 diagonal splitter the chance to just close this on the right side earlier. In the end, it worked out fine, but I'm not sure. Were you just going for the ruin here with still 2 daggers out there? I think that's a bit prematurely. Okay, so you opted just to increase the size of the city to threaten, let's say, an immediate end of game if that one here had closed. Yeah, I think that works, and there wasn't much else to do with this one. I mean, this here could have been considered. Yeah, right. I mean, that's more or less the only good option, I think. Definitely don't want to connect to Yellow City, that's for sure. We've seen what has happened later. This year, I think you could have gone for it. And um, considering there are still 4 field Doritos and the splitter in the deck, so 5 tiles out of 35, which would allow yellow to very likely close that city. I mean, why not use this here? I think I like this the more I look at it. And you'd still have the chance to close this one with less tiles. Actually, not less tiles, but in most cases, less tiles. You didn't think about this move? Whoa. Well, okay. And from then on, we'll witness, as you've mentioned, Kithara later had to chase after the city. And I think you just took over. There was this field creation, which was a good idea by Kithara, of course. Also going for the block. Yeah, that's fine. In this case, maybe an indirect protection would be worth a consideration, but as you really don't want to go there anyway, and rather keep the threat of closing the city alive, using Dorito on the city, I totally get. It's definitely fine. But, well, if this not resolved in your favor by now, and, well, unlikely to give you the meeple back without helping Yellow City, Maybe trying to get the second meeple back should have been a priority. Hmm. Yeah, maybe. Let's consider this again. Um, well, the problem is no road monastery left, right? But at least you take away straights, curves, starting tile, roses from yellow's arsenal to kill the square. So yeah, actually, why not? Yeah, you're right. You need the same tiles in your city. That's the problem. Why not? Um, and the city for sure is the bigger threat than trying to close this monastery. So let's check again, or continue rather, while we're at it. Here comes the block. Yellow can't do anything about it. Blocks your monastery, of course. In this case, this here, of course, is the right move, as there's only one big city tile out there. I had sketched this option here and then closing this with a cap. But in this case, or in some cases, yellow might then thwart this idea by throwing the Rito there to limit this square to the remaining horse. Similar to what they actually did in the game back later with the dagger from here. Turns out when I see it, I do remember. Yeah, so the problem with this one here, of course, is giving them the chance for this double threat, which worked nicely for them. Frankly, at this point, they might have needed to attack the city. At -16, and this city being at 11 points, threatening to win the game, but I think it's also sound to just bank on the 75% chance that you won't close the city, because you needed two 50-50s. So that's all fine. This here is very nice control, very nice tile counting, knowing that when the dagger hits, this square will be killed. And I think there is not much else to comment on, because from then on, yellow just goes for the field and you hit one jackpot, and I think another one right away. And then there wasn't really anything for yellow to still do in this game. The score's wrong, I think. Isn't? Oh, it's correct. Okay. Yeah. At least after this, these two moves here, I think it was decided. So anyone still having any questions? If not, then let me check the other matches. Move with right-handed dagger first timer. Oh, we'll check. For now, Other games, of course, are running, and later today there will be this one, and I will cover Snow Island versus James 81 tomorrow. Quite likely won't be covering anything in the evening because Otto and Alexi should, and I don't think we need triple coverage of anything. So let's go back to MTU's second game and check this one as well. I still have a few minutes left. Do you happen to know which move that was? Approximately. First farmer. This one. Yeah, this was a great move. Next to the monastery, right? Yeah, this one here. Yeah. That for sure was a nice find. I mean, limiting this to 2, and at the time, I think this dagger was still out there. Let's rewind. Might be 42. It is 43. Okay. Yeah. So there were still 2 daggers, a starting tile, actually. Now that I am not streaming live, I could increase these. So daggers, starting tile, rows left to close this one, plus combinations like this here. So it's definitely a great move to restrict this square. And when you have this many meeples in hand, a farmer like this in the early mid game is gold. Yeah, big farm is the way to go if you have that many meeples, and yellow needs to add a city to the main field in most cases anyway, and has all their 5 of their meeples stuck at least for some time. So I think this year was strategically, and I had the same problem on the live stream with this word as well. Strategically sound choice, definitely great move. Yeah, I liked it as well. Yep, that's the problem. Exactly. If you don't take the farm and yellow, whoops, that's the wrong one, gets anything to close their road, are likely. At least when they hit a curve, they would farm anyway. And who knows? They might close this or the other city with 2 moves. And then you'd have to ask yourself, why didn't you preempt a farming move by them? So you did, and that was totally fine. So anything else? I mean, the monasteries are fine there. You want to expand the field anyway, so why not combine these options? Also restrict yellow's road a bit. That's totally okay. So in the end, it was 50-50 for starting tile. Yeah, that's correct. At least it was according to my calculations. Yeah, with 6 meeple, he needs to take the monastery, else Alexi would kick him from the friends list. Yeah, he might anyway because his friends list is full at 500. He told recently on a stream, I think. But the 50-50 to me looked like the best shot for Kithara anyway, after you placed your 5th farmer at the bottom, threatening to connect with either Curve or Dorito. This one here. I think their chances were worse. Yeah, so at this point in time, you are up at 23 because the main field is tied, actually. It's still tied, but the bottom field is already in your possession worth 12 points. So I think what we witnessed in the game was almost the ideal outcome for yellow, except for missing the 50-50 in the end. So for example, you attack here, you still have 2 moves, 2 tiles to connect, and they just happen to draw one of them to kill the connection immediately. That's definitely ideal from their point of view. I'm not sure you'd have to attack the field actually here. Maybe taking the 4 points could have worked as well. Let's consider this. So up 23, scoring 4 would be 27. And then let's consider field unification and takeover by yellow. Well, it would surely win yellow the game, right? So it would be 8 cities then. So instead of 12 for you, yellow would score 24, plus we'd have the city. Yeah, that would swing the game in their favor completely. So yeah, maybe just taking the curve away from them to connect still was the right option, because it also takes away attacking options from the right side against the upper field. Yeah, and you've set yourselves up for no, it's not a 50-50 flip actually, because it's easy to block this connection option. But then again, yellow needs pieces to still add another farmer and unite the fields. Yeah, so this is debatable. Mm, 23. So if yellow happens to draw the curve, they'd get 12 points. I mean, you could even consider something like that, or this one. Rather like this. So now just to take away attacking options here, not to block the connection, as yellow still, of course, hopes to draw the starting tile anyway. I guess you had a lot of chances to still win this one. More or less no matter the permutation, except for the one you hit until you drew the starting tile. This here is maybe imprecise. How about this one? to save your connection. But actually that would give back this option to yellow to counter your connection. Although doesn't matter because they'd have this option anyway. Yeah, well, they set up the loop for them, which is nice. You get 1 point for the city, and we've witnessed all the rest. Yeah, you're right. They didn't have time to do anything about this option. They had No, they had actually time. They had time. Um, let's rewind. Let's rewind. I think they had exactly one move to block you and still a chance to win this game. So you hop on the field, they attack. That's totally fine. You add 1 point to your city. Again, I don't know if that actually does anything about the outcome of this game. I would suspect it doesn't if you lose the field to yellow. So if that is actually the case, then securing your field connection would be the right move. But you didn't. And here comes yellow's straight. So yellow uses this one, uses one of the curvies to connect, and gets the hand on the starting tile in the end to close that city and score the 7-point road. You have no meeple in hand. You don't get any meeple back. So you get, come on, let's give you the Dorito and this one here. So 2 points for blue. And a unified field with 1, 2, 3, 4 yellow farmers versus 1, 2, 3 from blue, right? So that would be taking away the top field, which was tied from you, and the bottom field. And I think in that case, yellow should have won quite easily. Adding another city plus the 7-point road. Yeah. So actually, maybe they should have put all their eggs into the one basket, which is called starting tile, city closure, and 7-point road. Maybe that was their winning path. But as we witnessed in the game, they found another one as well. Just drawing the curve and then setting up the flip for the 50-50. I definitely would have to dive deeper to check which of these two options is the better one or was the better one. You were thinking with the dagger to expand the bottom field and score 3 points. I think I have to rewind again. 5 minutes left. And then turn on my coordinate system, so you could tell me where would you want to place the dagger? Mm, instead the 1 point ruin move. Okay, I see. Um, I don't see any reason to do anything about extending the field actually. But I think you've talked about this one here. Oh, well, it doesn't do anything. Even if you happen to draw a cap, if yellow gets the starting tile, they just win when you don't connect from here. Okay, I got you. Well, then I think we've covered it all. And I can happily sign off here and go to, what is it? Is it dinner in the evening? I think so. Thanks for tuning in, especially thanks to you, MTU, for turning up here and discussing your game with me/us. It definitely was a pleasure. And as I have told you, you'd be always welcome to co-host as well, of course. Again, if you're still here, other channels are streaming as well, and I will be seeing you tomorrow or on another day. Bye bye.